It is so effed up that we're already halfway through the year. That shit is crazy. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be filming a mid-year wrap-up. I saw one of my favorite YouTubers do this video, Sarah Caroli. I'm sure you guys know her. If not, she's the queen. Anyways, I'm not sure if she's the one who came up with this. I'm gonna link hers below because that's the one I watched that inspired me to make this. So this is basically 10 questions, and I guess the questions are kind of like based around what books have been your favorite so far this year and stuff along those lines, but you'll understand once I read the questions. Before I start, I want to say I've read 40 books so far this year. 40 books was my goal for the whole year, so I've surpassed that. I gave myself a new goal to hopefully read at least 30 more before the end of the year is over. We shall see if that happens. The first question for this book tag, mid-year book tag, is, sorry, I have like a little notes. Best books you've read so far this year, 2023. So, I've talked about one of these books like in every fucking video I've posted. Sorry, but it's really fucking good, and if you haven't read it yet, read it now. Alone with You in the Ether by Olivia Blake. This is hands down one of my favorite reads I've read so far this year. It's just so perfect. The writing is so beautiful. It's not like your typical romance. It's a lot deeper than that. Mental health is like a huge part of the storyline. So good, 5 stars. I think about this book almost every day, and I might reread it before the end of the year because I just miss it. So that is my favorite, or one of my best reads so far this year. Second book, I'm gonna make sure I'm holding this up right. In my last video, I was literally holding it upside down the whole time I was talking about it because I'm stupid. Anyways, I had to. I love this book. Ever since I read it, can't stop thinking about the characters, and I just loved it so much. And this book is like super big on the internet right now, so I'm not really gonna talk about it that much, but it's Second Chance. Very much like relationship driven and friendship driven. It's not just a romance, way deeper than that. As you can tell, we have a theme going on. This book is just written so perfectly. I love Emily Henry's writing. So yes, this is my second best read of the year. I'm gonna say this is my third best read of the year. This is Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. This is a memoir, and I've spoken about this before. It's a memoir, but to me it didn't feel like a memoir because I feel like some memoirs can be kind of hard to digest depending on what the content is. But anyways, this is a memoir, but it really just felt like fiction. It's just about her life and really like her growing up in her 20s and 30s, and about the relationship she's been in, not just romantic but also friendship. Super funny, it was sad, it was heartbreaking, all the good emotions. I just loved her writing, and I loved this book, and it made me look at life a little differently, which is in a good way. But that is my third best read so far this year. I keep wording it differently. Those are the 3. Holy Trinity. Read these right now, or else. On to question number 2, which I literally don't have an answer for. So question number 2 is best sequel you've read so far in 2023. If I'm being honest, I haven't read any sequels. I haven't, so like I can't answer the question. So I read the Divergent series, and honestly I think I enjoyed like the second book more than the first book. So I guess I can count that, but I don't really want to. I haven't really read any sequels besides that, but that, I don't know if that counts, and I don't really, it's like hiding somewhere on my bookshelf. I guess I can count that, but really I don't really have any sequels. I have some that I haven't read yet that I'm going to read, but yeah, I don't really have a best sequel from 2023 yet. The third question is new releases you haven't read yet, but you want to. So I'm gonna do 3 for this one as well. So first new release that I haven't read yet that I really want to read is this. This is Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. I really enjoy the Ali Hazelwood's other 2 books. She has like 3 books out, but one of them is like they're a bunch of like short romances packed into one book. I haven't read that yet, but I kind of want to, just because I love her writing. But I've read her other 2 books, which is The Love Hypothesis and Love on the Brain, and I absolutely loved those. So I had to pick up her 3rd book. This came out on like June 15th. Haven't read it yet, but I'm so excited to read it because I just love her. I love the way she writes, and like she has a little niche where she writes about like workplace romance, and kind of like her one book was about 2 people that worked at NASA and the other book was 2 scientists. So she has that kind of like niche going on. I haven't read the back of this, but I'm sure. Okay, yeah, this is like a workplace romance situation, which I'm gonna eat it up because I just love, she's just so good at that. So yes, this is the first book, a new release that I really want to get to. I think I might read it next. Next book is The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. I spoke about this in my last video because I did a little book haul, but this is another workplace, no, just kidding, it's not. I don't really know what this is about, but it's just a romance book, and like I said in my other video, I've heard a lot of good things about this and I'm just excited to read it. Also, I've never read anything by this author. So then the 3rd book I want to read that's new is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I might have talked about this in my book haul as well. This is workplace romance, like they both work in the ER. I've also heard a lot of good things about this, so I'm excited for all 3 of those. Let me know if you've read any of these and what your thoughts were. The 4th question is most anticipated release for the second half of 2023. And honestly, I don't have an answer for this. I feel like all the books I've been looking forward to reading have already come out. For example, those 3 I just showed. Another book I really want to read is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. That just came out too. Everyone's been hyping about that book. I would say that, but that's already out. I don't really have an answer for this. So if you know about any books that are coming out anytime soon or before the year is over that haven't come out yet, and if they're romance, recommend them to me. I don't know. I don't really have an answer for this question. So now is about the time where I take my break to stretch my legs. The 5th question is your biggest surprise of 2023 so far. So I have like 2 answers for this because I wasn't sure. I would say I have like a bad surprise and a good surprise. So I would say the bad one is that I didn't enjoy this series, and these books are not cheap. So this is the Twisted series. I've talked about this on my channel before. Yeah, I just did not enjoy this series, and I was surprised. I thought I was going to enjoy it because honestly, some of the tropes in these books are tropes that I like, but I just could not get past. Just the writing and the male characters were not my fave. So I did not enjoy this series, which surprised me because of how hyped up it is. Not everyone is gonna like popular books, you know what I mean? Whatever you like is what you like, and that's cool. Personally, I did not like that series. Something that surprised me that was good was this book. So this is a book called Vicious, and this book surprised me in a good way because I honestly didn't think I was gonna enjoy it because of the type of book it is. It's kind of like science fiction, which is something I don't typically go for, but I was very entertained while reading this, and it was a really good read, and I think there is a sequel to this book, so I honestly might read that, which I should. Let me know if you read the sequel to it. I can't think of the name, but this book surprised me in a good way, and I recommend it. If you don't like science fiction, maybe start here, because it ended up being good for me, so. The next question is favorite new author, whether it's debut or just new to me or yourself. I don't believe these are new authors, but they are new to me. So the first author I'm going to talk about is Tia Williams. This is a romance book. I'm not sure if she mainly writes romance, but this book is romance, and it's called 7 Days in June. It did have a lot of hype around it, and I think the hype is right. I did really enjoy this book. It had a lot of deeper layers to it. The characters had trauma. I feel like I was really able to connect to the characters because of that and just the way they were written, and you really got to know them. And I really enjoyed her writing overall. So this is an author that is new to me that I really enjoyed. T. Williams. Okay, the second author that is new to me that I really enjoyed is Renee Carlino, Before We Were Strangers. This was also circulating around TikTok too, I think. Honestly, I need to stop getting recommendations from TikTok because usually they end up being bad. But lucky for me, those two, that one and this one, have been, I did like and I enjoyed, so I guess that's a good thing. I'm sure you've gotten bad recommendations from TikTok and you're like, oh, I'm never gonna take a recommendation from anyone on TikTok ever again, and then you just keep doing it because that's what happens to me. So hopefully I'm not the only one. Anyways, this is another romance book, and it's Second Chance, and it's about this girl and this boy went to college together and they became super close, and then they go separate ways because, you know, a lot's going on. They're in college and they're following their career paths, whatever, so they don't see each other for like a long time, like a good amount of years. Like they're in their, I want to say they're in their late 30s now, and he runs into her while he's taking the train, but he doesn't get to speak to her initially, and he's like, oh my god, that was totally her, fuck me. Like, he's questioning his whole life. They end up reconnecting. Second Chance. Usually I do not like Second Chance, but this was so good, and again, loved the writing. Also another author I've found that I really enjoy. I'm not sure if she has any other books, but if she does, I'm probably gonna read more of her stuff because she's great. Okay, and then the very last new author I'm gonna talk about that is new to me is Dolly Alderton. I already talked about this, but this was like I think this was the first book or second book I read this year. First book I ever read by her, and I'm hooked. I have one other book by her that I read, so this is a memoir, but the other book I have by her is just fiction, and I really enjoyed it. And I know she has one more book, I think it's called Dear Dolly, and it's another, like, it's not a memoir, it's more like advice, self-help, I think. So I'm probably gonna buy that eventually. So yeah, last author that is new to me this year, Dolly Alderton. Love her. Now, next question is newest fictional crush. And you know, I was gonna pick like more than one, but let's be real, there's only one person that has my heart right now, and it is Win. I don't know, I just love him. What can I say? The girls that get it, and the girls that don't. Team Win. I'm not gonna say anything else. Read the book. Read Happy Place. Our next question is a book that's made you cry. I've already talked about how it's hard for me, blah blah blah, we've already heard it before. Hard for me to cry when I'm reading. And I've already told you the first book that's ever made me cry is this book, Crying in H.R. I've talked about this already many times. A beautiful, heartbreaking memoir by the artist Japanese Breakfast. Her name's Michelle. This made me cry. You gotta really mentally prepare about if you're gonna read that. It's about grief, and it's a memoir, so it's true story, real relationship. So I feel like that's what made it hurt even more, knowing that she experienced what she wrote about. Second book that made me cry is Happy Place. This made me cry because I was just feeling so many emotions, emotional roller coaster, and I think the main reason it made me cry is because I felt so connected to Win and Harriet's relationship and just them as people, and then also the friendship Harriet shares with her three friends. Tears were shed. Next question is a book that made you happy. I reread it. I said I was gonna reread it, and I did it. Beach Read by Emily Henry. This book made me so happy. Reread for me, I read this around 2 years ago, and you know, I thought, let me pick it up because I think in my mind I thought this was my favorite Emily Henry book. So I wanted to reread it because I read Happy Place and I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever read. So I was like, Let's See if Beach Read is still number 1 for me, and I'm here to report, Moment of Silence, Happy Place is my favorite Emily Henry book, but this is my second favorite, and it made me super happy to reread it. I love Gus and what's her name? January. Cutest names. I feel like she always has the cutest names in her book. I actually don't like the name Gus. I wish she called him Augustus by his full name, but okay, no one asked for my opinion. Anyways, I just loved January and Gus. I loved their story, I loved them as individuals, and it made me happy to reread this. This is the second option I picked for a book that made me happy. This is Carrie Soto Is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I've read every single one of her books, and this is the last book I've read by her, and I talked about this before, but I really thought I wasn't going to enjoy this because it's about a tennis player and sports take up a lot of the storyline, but this book did really make me really happy. It was just great to see the progression of Carrie, the character, and yeah, I was just rooting for her the whole time, and I loved it, and it made me happy. So I highly recommend Taylor Jenkins Reid if you haven't read anything by her. I'm sure you have. Daisy Jones and the Six. One of my favorite books by her is After I Do. It's kind of a more sad romance. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent, but this book made me happy, and I highly recommend this author. Two more questions. Second to last question. Most beautiful book you've read so far this year. So I picked one based on how beautiful the writing was, and then one based on the cover, physically and writing wise. For physically, and I also really enjoyed this book, so it's not just beautiful, it's really entertaining. This book is pretty controversial. A lot of people loved or hate it. I liked it. I was entertained. I felt like I was really in the minds of each character. Anyways, this is Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. Beautiful cover. So the reason why I love this cover is because it's very beautiful, but there's a lot going on, and you're like, what is all that stuff on the cover? And the thing is, you won't understand all of the little things on the cover till you read it, till you finish the book. Everything on the cover has like a little meaning to it, and there's a reason why it's on the cover, and I just think it's really cool and beautiful. Then we have the book I've read that I think is such beautifully written. That is, you guessed it, Along With You in the Ether. Literally so beautiful. I can't tell you how many annotations that I made in this book, just because every other sentence is just good. Just kidding, that's over exaggerating, but beautifully written. I really need to read more of her books. And then the final question is books you need to read before the year is over. So this doesn't mean just books that come out this year. It means just books that you want to read before the year is over in general. So I have two. I kind of have like a series I want to finish, and then I have another book. So this is one of the books I want to finish before the year is over. That's on my physical TBR. This is Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. I've heard a lot of good things about this series. I only have the first book in the series, but it's very character driven and found family romance. I've been kind of holding off because it's so thick. I think it's like 1,000 pages. That's a lie. I just lied to you. It's over 500, which, okay, that's not a lot. I guess it is a lot, but like not that much. I honestly thought it was longer than that, but still kind of scared. If I like it, I want to finish the whole series, so I'll have to buy that if that happens, but stay tuned. Let me know if you read this, because based on your opinions, like whatever you guys say about it will probably determine if I read it sooner rather than later, or hold it off more depending on what y'all think. The second book or kind of series that I want to finish before the year's over is the Magnolia Parks / Daisy Hate series. I read the first Magnolia Parks book and the first Daisy Hates book. This is the second Daisy Hates book, which is the fourth book in the series, so I still need the third book in the series, and if you're wondering why I have the fourth but not the third, it's because I messed up and I meant to order the second book and I ordered the fourth book, and then I just decided to keep it because I'm gonna read it eventually. So then I ordered the second book, but I haven't ordered the third. Literally no one cares, but that's why. So I really want to finish this series. That includes the third book, which I don't have, duh, and then this book, which is the final one. And I heard a lot of people's favorite is this one. I'm excited to find out if I can say the same. I did finish Daisy Hates, which honestly I didn't want to say because I'm going to talk about that in my next wrap-up video for June, but whatever, I finished it, but I'm not going to tell you my thoughts until that video. So, okay, that is the end of this video. I really enjoyed filming this. I think tags are really fun to film. Maybe I'll come up with one of my own one day. Who knows? Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you have a channel and you're gonna do this tag, I'll leave the questions in the description so you can do it as well. And if you do end up doing it, honestly let me know because I'll watch it. Thank you guys so much for watching. My next video will be my June wrap up. Have a good day. Love you.